kicked off. Watch this.
You don't scare us, man. You don't scare us. Your racism is built on a lie.
With dueling crowds on both sides making their voices heard, some focusing on the all-white jury selected in the case.
There's the dichotomy in the jury selection. Now, the jury is supposed to reflect the community. It's supposed to be a jury of the defendant's peers. And I think from the defense perspective, they potentially have a get out of jail free card here. And as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, I cannot believe the prosecution actually made this mistake to exclude all of the African-American jurors, knowing you had an African-American defendant, knowing that you had a bunch of people outside the courthouse who feel that they're not, that their community, the African-American community, is not going to get a fair trial, I think is a big mistake. You got to remember, as a prosecutor, you're not there just to convict. Your job is to make sure that the defendant gets a fair trial. And I honestly think if there's a conviction here, I think the appellate court is going to take a very hard look at this and potentially reverse this. This is a serious mistake by the prosecution. And jury selection is one of the ways that an appellate court will reverse a conviction. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But if I was a prosecutor, I would never have done this. It's a mistake, and I think this is going to come back and haunt them.
And that you actually
took today, the prosecutors showed the jury the actual weapon that was used. Can you describe what they saw?
Well, the weapon they say that was used was more like a Leatherman's tool. They said it did have a blade on it, but it was described more as a utility tool. They did show it to the jury. They had that particular weapon there, and they also said that they showed a picture where the weapon was found and the blade wasn't fully locked. It was just halfway. So some defense attorneys are saying that that is going to be something that the defense is going to use in their favor. Back to you, Chris.
But specifically today, did this testimony help one side over the other?
Well, I think that talking to our legal expert, that both sides probably got some points across. The prosecution was able to have the student athlete say that it was not Austin Metcalf that actually escalated this, that Austin Metcalf was just trying to get Karmelo Anthony to leave the area, but it was Karmelo Anthony who became aggressive and then stabbed Austin Metcalf. But then the defense had those same witnesses that testified that Karmelo Anthony was never actually sitting under the tent. He was sitting there talking to a friend. He was laughing and joking at times, and it was Austin Metcalf who became aggressive, trying to get him to leave, and actually shoved him. And he described it as like a lineman's drill, and basically like got him by the shoulders. And that is when Karmelo Anthony reacted. And of course, we're going to hear a lot more testimony from these witnesses as.
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and first and foremost, I do want to once again send condolences and prayers over to the entire family of Austin Metcalf, loved ones, people close to him who dealt with him on a day-to-day, and them having to go through this unfortunate situation that played out, having to get these last phone calls and last moments in the courtroom in real time. Most definitely prayers over to them. And with all that being said, they had another day in court. Some witnesses spoke who were right there on the scene. And as you see outside of the courtroom, there's a heavy situation and a problem going on with the jury selection. And of course, race is going to be a part of this no matter how you slice it. And I had a links in the description where you can watch the clips in the beginning in full from Fox and WFAA. And I'm going to get a little bit into the write-up in just a second, as they have already said with the jury jury selection. It's 7 white men, and then it's Asian people. Then it's also, I think, an Indian on there as well. And then somebody of color, but nobody black. And he's supposed to have a jury of his peers. And as y'all heard that prosecutor and another legal expert speak right there, they said, hey, if this doesn't go right, they're gonna file that appeal in court because he doesn't have a jury of his peers because nobody's black on this trial right here. And he said he don't know how they can do that. And I guess the other way that they can move this from this, they would have to switch the counties up, a change of venue. That's a legal thing that they do when they say that the jury selection wouldn't be right. So to go through with this right here with nobody black on the jury selection, you could see, I don't care. People try to say it don't matter about race, bro. It just is what it is. This is the society we in. I'm just gonna come give y'all the facts as what they are. It's already brewed up. It's already there, and we here now. That's just how this is gonna go. Now, when they talked to the witnesses today, they said that both sides asked their questions, and it changed up on the defense side because the prosecutors are saying he went there, and for it to be a murder, you got to say, hey, he had intent to kill, he was committing a felony, and then somebody died in the act of a felony, and he wanted to do this murder right here. Well, that's for first degree. That's what he's been charged with. He's not been charged with the weapon. They have seen the knife now and said it's a folding knife, but when they talked to the defense side of it, they said that, nah, it's not what was originally reported. They said that the people under the tent, defense attorney Mike Howard clarified that there were about 20 people under the tent when the stabbing happened, a mixture of both boys and girls. He said that the Liberty tent was getting pretty crowded because people were hiding from the rain. The teenage witness agreed. The witness also agreed that it seemed like Anthony knew at least one person who was seated under the memorial tent. The defense pointed out, and the witness agreed, that Anthony was seated near the middle of the tent with other people around him. The defense seems to be using cross-examination to point out the teenage witnesses, the differences between their testimony in court and the statements they gave police, as well as the location where people were sitting or standing. The attorney has asked each one if they recall seeing Anthony sitting while Metcalf was standing. Now, if you read the full thing, they talked to several witnesses on the scene. Some of their stories are conflicting, and some of theirs are the same, because some are talking about he put one hand on him, he put two hands on him. They have noted that he did put his hands on Karmelo Anthony. To the defense side, they're pushing that, hey, he went there to get out of the rain. Supposedly he knew somebody there under the tent, but that's what this commotion was over. He was already in the tent. They then came and asked him to leave. Karmelo was saying when Austin put his hands on him, he initiated this contact. They were trying to force him to leave to get out in the rain. So when he put his hands on him, it was strictly self-defense in this situation. They have acknowledged the size difference in them to at least be 50 to 60 pounds. So I don't know, because I was not there. We can only go off of what they report. He's charged with first-degree murder, nothing else in this trial. So they would have to find him guilty of first-degree murder, and all the terms have to be there with first-degree murder for him to be convicted of this right here. So with everything playing out now, it still has to be there without a reasonable doubt that he intended to kill. And I would just say, in these type of situations and altercations, that communication is best, and also keep your hands to yourself, because you don't know what's going on in somebody else's brain. They don't know what's going inside of your brain or what your intentions are, and it can get tragic when this happens. So we'll see how everything happens. Right now, I want to come out here with the facts. They are redoing court tomorrow on the weekend on Saturday, and they're trying to get this done by a certain date, but it's a lot going on right now. Y'all see how it's getting chaotic a little bit outside. You can imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow for it to be a weekend. So we will see. It's so many layers to it right now. You can't see the stabbing on camera. You can't see the actual physical altercation on camera. So the defense, they going to come and try to discredit what everybody is saying right there in front of the jury. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to the jury how everything play out. But as y'all heard, they probably going to come with in the end, hey, this was not a fair trial. We just got to wait and see how it all play out. I'm going to keep y'all updated with the facts, and we'll go from there. Stay on your pivot. More coming. 1,000.